Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to NAWBO On the Go. My name is Tanya Shagnon. I am a member of the headquarters team, and you guys, I am so excited. We have with us today Miss Diane Yetter from our Chicago chapter, and she got a very distinct honor for her business this year. And we're going to talk about that, but we're going to talk about all things. So we're going to just jump right in. Hi, Diane. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Tanya?
I'm so very good. Thank you so much. Okay, we always start with something super fun and personal about our guest before we jump into the nitty gritty. So, you're a business owner, you're clearly an industry expert. Tell me some of the things though that get your juices flowing outside of work.
Well, at this time of the year, what gets me going is my garden. So I live in downtown Chicago. I'm in a condo building, but I am lucky to have 750 square feet of outdoor space, which is sometimes bigger than a lot of people's inside space in an apartment in
And
downtown
how
Chicago.
does that work?
It is amazing. It's about a 10-foot wide terrace that runs the whole length of my unit. So it's 75 feet long. So I have all kinds of different areas on the terrace. And I love my garden. I have flowers. I have perennials that I leave outside all year long, so they survive the Chicago winter. I've been in this place for 21 years. I have some things that have survived for 21 years through the
That
Chicago
is
winters.
amazing.
Amazing. But then I have this year I'm just doing tomatoes as my big vegetables. I've done squash and cucumbers in the past, but I've got three big tomato plants that are already producing, so I love that. I have lettuce and cilantro and arugula and basil and mint and chives and thyme and
Oh my
I
gosh.
just love this time of the year where when I make a salad, it is almost all from my garden. And
That's
so
incredible.
I just love that. And then throughout the year, I also love classical music. And so I have a series subscription at Symphony Center here in Chicago. So I can go to a concert and just let everything go and just listen to the beautiful music. And then the last thing that gives me a lot of joy and pleasure is I've been very involved for a number of years at my undergraduate university, which is the University of Kansas. And I'm active with the School of Business, where I serve on the Dean's Advisory Board. I've been chair of the advisory board. And so I do a lot with them. And then I also was really honored to be selected as a trustee for the Endowment Association, which is responsible for raising funds. And so I love working with our current students and helping the university continue to be relevant through letting them know what we need to be teaching our students in the School of Business to make them succeed when they graduate.
Oh my gosh, that is incredible and such an honor. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we're going to dig deep into your business and all things not tax related, guys. I
Okay.
promise not tax related. So tell me how you built your business, especially in such a niche industry.
So my business is sales tax, and people say you
Ouch.
out. Yeah, well, they say, what's so hard about sales tax?
This
They think income tax, and they, always ask me, well, can you help do my income tax returns? No, I
no.
don't do that. I have somebody do my income tax returns, in
Diff
fact.
right.
And so, my business is highly technical. And it is what most people don't want to ever have anything to do with.
Mhm.
But it is a great opportunity. We are celebrating our 30th year in business this year.
Amazing.
And so it has been a journey. And, the business has had multiple twists and turns over the years. But it is my passion and it is what I really love to do. And how I started the business 30 years ago, I had two dear, dear friends that I worked with. I was with Arthur Anderson, a big accounting firm, before I left. And they had left and started their own businesses in the sales tax field, but different, doing different things
Mhm.
than what I was going to be doing. And they just kept encouraging me and told me that I had the right idea, that what I was talking about doing, they knew there was a market for. And they said, just do it, Diane. You're
Mhm.
going to succeed. And if for some reason you do it and you don't like it, they're going to hire you back, or somebody will hire
Right.
you back. And so that's what I did. And at the time, I was leading an initiative with a software company with Arthur Anderson and teaching their customers, and they didn't want to lose me. So they hired me as a contract trainer, guaranteed me 2 weeks of work a month. So that was 50% of my time. And then I was in front of their customers who were my target clients. And so it was just a perfect opportunity. I started the business in August, and by December, I had my first consulting client. So it was a great way to do it, and I haven't looked back since.
That is completely incredible. So you, um, I've heard you say when we've talked previously
Mhm.
about turning expertise into influence. Talk to me about that. What does that mean?
So, what it means is being able to become a voice in the industry and being able to um, share your knowledge, and also in my situation, I've been able to help influence tax policy, not as a lobbyist, but as an expert in the field. And so I'm a big believer in getting involved with organizations that align with what my business is about. So I'm
Mhm.
very active in a number of tax organizations. I'm active in some state government groups. I'm active in some uh, uh, organizations that are helping to or working to try to make sales tax easier for the businesses that have to comply with that.
Oh my gosh, that is a miracle in itself.
Thank you. And so what I've done is I've met different people, and I bring my expertise, knowing what these businesses have to do. So with one of the organizations, an organization called the Streamlined Sales Tax Organization,
Mhm.
I am the voice of small businesses when I'm in those meetings. And so I'm talking about what my clients are challenged with, what they complain to me about, what things I have to help them do and fix, that makes their business challenging when they have to comply with all of these tax laws across the country and across the world, truthfully. And so by getting involved, I've been able to meet these people. I have been able to be asked to do things like present at conferences. It was through these relationships I was actually asked to testify before the U.S. Senate twice. Um,
Wow.
and a state House of Representatives. And so it's a great way to get your name out there. And we've had people that have come to us and said, they found that I had testified. They saw my hearing, my testimony, because it still lives online, and they said, if the U.S. Congress wants to hear from you, you must know
Yes.
what you're doing. And so it really builds that reputation
Mhm.
and the ability to do that. And then those relationships help me help my clients in ways that people that don't have these relationships can't.
Yeah, absolutely. So especially in the tax world,
Yes,
things are always changing.
they are.
Regulatory stuff, cannot say that word, changes, economic shifts happen, technology, I just can't even imagine the technology in the tax world.
Mhm.
How do you stay adaptable with all of those constant changes?
Well, my industry is one that changes all the time. There are
Mhm.
tax law changes every single day. I
Yes.
get daily newsletters that I have to read to learn about a new law, a court decision, some sort of interpretation that has come out. So I am just used to learning new concepts and new ideas all the time. And so that I think is part of just kind of my mindset that you
Mhm.
have to be willing to pivot at any time. I remember in 2018, we were teaching one of our classes through the Sales Tax Institute,
Mhm.
and we had been awaiting a major US Supreme Court decision coming down. And it's what changed that now today, if you buy online, you are most likely being charged sales tax, where before that, you were not.
Oh my gosh.
And uh, we had promised all of our followers that we would go live on Facebook the day the decision came down. And it came down the second day of our 3-day class. We had taught all of the concepts that this case addressed the day before. So we had to pivot and reteach it all the next day. And then in the midst of trying to run a school, I had to go and do a Facebook on, live session when I had not even read the whole case yet.
Oh my
And
gosh.
that pivoted our entire business,
Mhm.
completely changed what we had to do. It is since that time that the technology, when I got into this field, there were two companies that sold software that could calculate sales tax.
Oh my
Today I have lost track. Like every month, there's a new company coming out that I'm learning about and trying to figure out if they're the right solution for a client. So it really comes down to, in my opinion, to being curious, wanting to always be in a learning mode, and
Mhm.
being flexible. I've been viewed as being really ahead of the times with many things. I've had a website since 1996.
Oh my
So
gosh, I think you were website number 3.
so long before most companies ever thought of doing that, we started offering webinars as a paid revenue source in 2012, before
Wow.
most people had started doing webinars.
Yeah.
We became a 100% remote business in 2010, long before COVID forced everybody to do that in 2020.
Mhm.
And so I think all these things have helped me lead my business and influence my industry as changes became more mainstream.
That's amazing. So incredible. I love hearing when someone is so far ahead of the time that when everybody's panicking, you're like, no big deal. We've been doing
Right.
it. We've got it down. Let's talk about the culture. I love talking about culture in businesses. So, what have you learned about creating a culture, especially being 100% remote, that supports both high performance and employee well being?
Well, one of the most important things that I've learned is you have to treat everyone with respect and compassion.
Yes.
And realizing that every one of my team members has a life outside of work that doesn't necessarily have boundaries. So if you've got small kids, they may get sick. You may need to do drop off and pick up for school. You may have a parent teacher conference that you have to go to or a doctor's appointment. And so once we became a fully remote business, it was a little harder to do, but we still had a lot of flexibility for the 10 years we were actually in an office.
Hmm.
But today, being a fully remote business allows all of us the flexibility to do all those things. Whether you have kids or not, just being able to run the errands that you need to do or throw in the load of laundry so that you're not spending all of your weekend having to do chores that you can kind of fit in the
Yeah.
middle of the day. And in order to do that, you have to have a culture that instills trust in the team, that they
Yes.
know how to balance their time for their work obligations as well as their personal ones. And this really makes sure everyone wins and everyone is physically healthy as much as they can be, and more importantly, mentally healthy, because that creates a lot of stress when you're trying to balance things and you can't quite make that work. We don't make people take PTO when they need to do that hour thing in the middle of the day, they
Mm-hmm.
can flex their time and make that up, come in early, work an extra 15 minutes, the rest of the days of the week, and figure out how to make that work. And the most important thing is they know what their work obligations are. They know when they've got a critical deadline. They know when they've got a client deliverable. We do a lot of systems implementation, so knowing a go live that has to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We had one of those this week, and the client was turning it on at 2 a.m. Eastern time. And the manager on that job said, I'm here. You may have to call me 2 or 3 times before I hear the phone, but if you need me at 1 or 2 in the morning, call me. And that's the culture that we've really built. The other thing is we're a big believer, even being everybody remote, in collaboration and teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got our marketing department is spread from New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Kentucky to Portland, Oregon. And just the time zone differences make it a little bit challenging, but
Yeah.
they know how to do that. And they know, hey, sometimes I might need to work a little late this day because we have to have a meeting that's later East Coast time than, Pacific time, or the Pacific person has to get up extra early and do a call at 7 a.m. their time because that's what has to happen. And everybody is willing to do that. Our team, everybody is willing to ask for help and offer help. But our team has a lot of autonomy, and they get to deal directly with clients and partners and vendors. And that really builds their confidence. And that's how we get that high performance. They're building their expertise by being given opportunities to demonstrate their expertise with our external partners, whether they're clients or students or vendors, that they have the ability to do that. And so if they have to have a call with one of those external people, they know what they have to do. They know what they need to know in order to do that. And I think our culture has really embraced that and has really empowered our team to kind of have control of their day and control of their future.
Yeah. And something that you left out that you didn't mention, so I'm going to mention it. Your company was just named as a best workplace this year by Inc. magazine.
We were.
What does that mean for you?
It's a validation. And sometimes I get a little emotional, so
And
sorry
I
about
love
that.
that you bring all the emotion. It makes me happy.
Um, it's a validation that what I've been doing works. And I think as a woman business owner, we sometimes don't have as much confidence in ourselves in what we are doing, that we know deep down we feel it's right, we know it's right, but we need that extra external validation, and that's what that did.
You are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
And whenever you need that validation, you just call me. I've got you.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Okay.
When you think about the future and what it holds for the next generation of women business owners, what opportunities excite you the most? And what I'm excited about this question. What do you hope they do differently than previous generations of entrepreneurs?
So what I see as opportunities is for women, and particularly women entrepreneurs, to define their life, to have a full life professionally and personally. Um, I am not a mom. I have not had to balance running a business with running a household, and having children. But I am in awe of my team members, my friends that balance that, because they have a real challenge. And I am so proud of the advancements in working moms, and particularly those that have stood up and been active for a lot of the things that moms need. I have a good friend who is an attorney, who just is very, very vocal about all of the needs of a working mom, and particularly a working attorney.
Mhm.
Um, COVID certainly was a contributor towards helping businesses understand flexible time and flexible work locations. Um, but it concerns me how many leading businesses are reversing course, particularly technology businesses, because
Yeah.
they clearly know that you can work remotely. And, I hate to say it, but so many of them are run by men. And they just, I think, don't trust their employees. They had no problem with them during COVID. And now all of a sudden they feel like they have to pull them back in and keep that tight control.
Mhm.
So I hope that there are more businesses, and as we have more women business owners and more women CEOs and more women leaders, that they learn the importance of trusting their employees to plan their day where everyone can be happy and succeed. I also think all the technology advancements, and in particular AI, open up so many opportunities for women business owners. And I really hope this generation takes full advantage of the technology, both to help them accomplish more, but also for the business opportunities.
Yes.
My business was born on the need to implement new sales tax technology in advance of Y2K. So, back then, everybody had old mainframe systems that were programmed for a two-digit year.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and and they all had to get off of those because nobody was around that still knew how to fix that problem. And and so they needed software that could
Mhm.
integrate with those systems like SAP and Oracle and JD Edwards and all the others, in order to calculate the sales tax. And so that's
Yeah.
what my business was born for, was implementing that. And we did that for some of the largest companies in the world. And I was this little two-person firm, and I was implementing tax software for the Fortune 10.
Amazing.
Who would have thought that was possible? Well, it was possible because I was the first one doing it. When
Mhm.
I started my business, there was one other company, independent company, not a big consulting or accounting firm, one other company that was doing what I was doing. And
Amazing.
so it was an incredible timing that I worked that out right. Um, and today it's the opportunity with AI.
Mhm.
The playing field is being leveled. And I really hope women embrace this, find ways to build it into their business, give them the opportunity to accomplish more, but also to potentially start new ventures, new ideas, new things that don't exist at all today, because of the technology that's out there.
We are going to end our questions right here. Diane, you are such an inspiration. You are, do I say trendsetter? You are so ahead of your time.
Thank you.
And the acknowledgement that you got from Inc. magazine, I think, is just the tip of the iceberg. Thank you for being so open-minded. Thank you for charting new paths. You're charting paths for people that you don't even realize. And just thank you for your willingness to be that person. It takes a strong soul to do things first, and you didn't just do that once, you do that routinely. And to have you on here as our guest was such an honor, and thank you so much for joining me today.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate the opportunity to share some of this with other women business owners, or potential business owners.
Yes, absolutely. And before I let you go, we always end with a favorite quote. Do you have a quote that you would like to share with us today?
Um, so I did. I found one that I think really spoke to me, and it's to love what you do and feel that it matters. How could anything be more fun? And Catherine Graham, who was the CEO of the Washington Post, said that. And it's exactly why I built my business around passion for something people find mind numbing. Um,
I love it.
and we've created, so this will be our 6th year, I believe, an award called the Sales Tax Nerd Award, which we give annually to someone who loves this field enough to pass their knowledge on to others. And
I love
I
that.
think that's what Catherine Graham did. I mean, think of
Yes.
what she did with the Washington Post and the grounds she broke. Very inspiring.
Yes, and I see your shirt, and I love
Yes,
it so much.
yes.
So, thank you again from the bottom of my heart for joining us today. It was awe-inspiring and just so great to listen to your stories.
Thank you so much.
And listeners, as always, thank you for joining us as well. And we will see you back here super soon for our next episode. Have a great day. Hang on.